Did you know that 1 in 3 adults worldwide is at risk for diabetes? And many don't even know it. It's often called the silent epidemic. And for good reason, right?
And for good reason, right? My goodness.
But today, we are here to expose some surprising truths you might not even be aware of about diabetes.
All right, that's diabetes for you. Well, suffice to say that we are going beyond the basics today. This isn't just sugar,
Sugar disease.
Yeah, people call it just sugar disease. It's not just sugar that is at stake here. We will talk about hidden symptoms, as well as the lesser known causes and the silent dangers of diabetes. So grab a seat, because what you will learn today could save your life or someone that you love. All right, so with that being said, we are moving. All right, welcome back. Honey, go on.
Yes, so we are going to be talking about diabetes, what diabetes really is.
So what really is diabetes? The bigger picture, right? We won't just say the thing that everybody knows. We're going to go through the bigger picture of diabetes. And then after that, we're going to talk about the hidden symptoms to watch out for.
And we also continue with surprising causes and risk factors.
The surprising causes. And then from there, we're going to also touch on the silent dangers of uncontrolled diabetes.
And finally, we will touch base on how to prevent diabetes and how to control it.
That's what's up. We have a packed show, but suffice to say that just be ready for a very good information here, because we are ready to roll. And we'll start off with the first one, right? So that is what really is diabetes? Is it just what you've heard, sugar disease or whatever it is? Well, most people think it's just a sugar problem, but it's much deeper than that. Diabetes is a condition where your body struggles to regulate glucose, or blood sugar because of issues with your insulin.
Yeah, so we have types of diabetes. We have type 1 and type 2. And there are different types of diabetes, like I said, right? So the type 1 is when your body doesn't produce insulin at all. So it's an autoimmune condition, often diagnosed in younger people. But that type 2, now that's the one we are seeing more of these days, even in children, due to lifestyle factors.
My goodness, even in children, that's a problem that everybody is worried about. I mean, some people don't know, but type 2 diabetes is now even rampant in children. Because what? You can see the diet that we have as a community of people who can afford all sorts of food, including junk food, right? So our kids are growing with pot bellies even at earlier ages, and so diabetes is creeping down the kids in younger ages. And the other types of diabetes, after what she has said,
which is what type 1 and type 2.
After type 1 and type 2, there is also prediabetes, which affects millions of people. Now, prediabetes is mostly undiagnosed, because people are walking. Basically, it's pre-diabetes, before you actually are, called as a diabetic patient. And many people who have not been officially diagnosed as diabetic are walking around with prediabetes, which is also a problem, And most of these people don't even know that they have prediabetes. And there is also a fourth diabetes type, which is gestational diabetes, which occurs during pregnancy. But here's the key. Diabetes isn't about sugar. It's about how everybody or your body processes the energy that you take in. So that is a real key there. It's not just sugar, which we hate. We've talked about sugar a lot, but yeah, it's beyond that.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes beyond, if it goes unmanaged, right? It is silently damaging your the body, the organs in your body. over years because you are not aware of it. That's why awareness is so critical.
Definitely. So with that being said, we can move on. Awareness, and that's what this channel is going to be pretty much focused on. So I think after that we can talk about the symptoms, and I'll let Gifty start with the symptoms.
Yes, so many people think diabetes is all about thirst and frequent urination. And while that is true, there are other symptoms that often go unnoticed. Some people say that you feel severe thirst and you keep going to the bathroom. If you're not careful, you think that is it. There are other things that you can also look out for.
And that is why this show is very important. This video is very important. We're going to tell you some of the things, if time permits, that are beyond what everybody knows. Like she said, most people just think as frequent urination. So if I'm not peeing so much, and then I'm fine. If I'm not so much thirsty all the time, then I'm fine. That is, those are key highlights of diabetes. But there's more to that. So for example, unexplained weight loss. That's one key that people miss. If you are eating normally but losing weight, there's something's got to be wrong there. It's not always diabetes. It could be other diseases, of course. But some diabetes have been found to show up that way. But a lot of them, people found out they were diabetic because they were eating normally and they were still losing weight. And that could be a sign of either type 1 or even type 2. So that is, so right now we've hit about three signs now, I think even 4. Thirst, urination, as well as what I just said.
Thirst.
Yes. So we can go on.
Yes, so another one is blurred vision, right? So people with high blood sugar levels can, if the sugar in your blood is so high, it can affect the lens in your eye, causing your vision to fluctuate. So you have blurred vision. That can be a symptom that may be that you have high blood sugar.
See, and that is not, immediately obvious to anyone if you have that kind of symptom. So you got to be careful. If your vision is not that accurate, you have fluctuations of, good and bad vision, or it's blurry all the time. It's not always due to diabetes, but yours may, present that way. So that is another key sign and symptom
you don't want to miss.
You don't want to miss. So you have to take care of that. Now, there's more. And if I may also add more, there's also numbness and tingling of the hands and feet. Tingling sensation and numbness of the feet and even the hands. This could be an early sign of diabetic neuropathy, and which actually happens when high blood sugar damages your nerve cells. So when sugar stays in your blood for so long and it becomes available to your nerves, they begin to destroy your nerve cells. The nerve cells are the ones that carry signals to the parts of your body. And if high blood sugar continues for a long time, then you see or feel these sensations of, tingling and numbness on your hands and feet. So that's another key that you
and also, let's not forget slow healing wounds. So if you have a cut or sore, and it seems that it's taking longer than usual to heal, it could be a sign that high blood sugar is affecting your body's ability to repair itself and to heal quickly. That can be a sign that you have to watch out for.
And even with that too, there's a key. I think we actually have a video on our channel where we have, we talked about women and how some women's diabetes present from frequent candidiasis.
Right.
They get candida or what we call yeast infections all the time because of peeing glucose in their urine. So if you're a lady and you don't understand why you are peeing, why you are always having yeast infections, you have to be checked because too much sugar is causing, that fungi to be able to resist there and eat, those, glucose that you are peeing around. And so apart from that, what Gifty just said in terms of, giving you slow healing. When you get a wound, it takes a while to heal. You also sometimes get frequent, infections. Every cold you catch it because your immune system is basically not on point. It's not up to par because diabetes is weakening your immune system. So infections of all kinds, as well as, in women, like I say, yeast infections and UTIs, persistent. I'm not saying all of them are, but persistent. You've changed anything that you use and still it's going on like that. Ask your doctor to check, see, because that is also a sign that you're struggling to heal, not only in terms of the things that affect you, in other parts of the body, but also because you can actually deal with the fungus and bacteria down there because of persistent urination of glucose in your urine. So that is another thing that we can talk about there. Now, so if you notice any of these symptoms, you should not ignore them at all. Why? Because early diagnosis can make a huge difference. If you have seen any of the things we have mentioned, you got to seek an opinion, because once you are diagnosed, then there is a chance that you can take action. And that is very, very important. So I don't know if you have anything else to add before we go on with that.
Yeah, let's continue.
All right. So how has diabetes been caused, or how does it, come about, And let's move into that, Let's dive into some surprising causes. Many people already know that, diabetes comes from your diet, potentially also genetics, because your parents, your uncle, your sister, your brother, somebody close to you may have diabetes, and so you may have inherited the genes for type 2 diabetes especially. Of course, also type 1, and it's a common knowledge as far as that is concerned, but there could be more, right?
Yes, so one of them is stress, chronic stress. So we know that chronic stress raises cortisol levels, which can increase your risk of insulin resistance, which is what diabetes, because your insulin is not working as well. And if you are chronically stressed, it's likely that your insulin is not be able to act on the glucose to work properly, and that can lead you to having diabetes.
The other uncommon one that people may not immediately think about is what we call sleep deprivation. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Studies actually show that poor sleep, especially if you are getting less than 6 hours a night, can significantly raise, your risk for diabetes. These are coming out with studies, So if you are not getting enough sleep consistently, it's okay if, 1 week something happens or every once in a while, but if it is persistently under 6 hours per day, then you got to be careful, because poor sleep has been known to also lead to diabetes. And there's a huge part, not to say huge, detailed pathway that can, explain that. Suffice to say that, sleep, if you lack sleep, you're actually going to be stressed. And we have already mentioned that stress also leads to cortisol release, which then leads to insulin resistance. So just as simple as that, in order not to go too deep. So poor sleep can also lead to diabetes. And I'm pretty sure you probably didn't think about it. So now you know that is one other thing that causes diabetes.
So let's talk about hidden sugars. I know sugar, we all know that if you consume a lot of sugar, you are prone in having diabetes. But what about the hidden sugars? So many healthy, in parentheses, healthy foods, like granola bars or flavored yogurts are packed with what? With sugar, high amount of sugar. So these hidden sugars can spike your blood glucose, blood sugar levels without you even realizing it. So you can argue that, I eat healthy, but what kind of healthy foods are you eating? Do we have hidden sugars in there, which you have to be really attentive? Learning how to read labels is very important.
My goodness, that is another key thing. Hidden sugars, or I mean, it's really fascinating because you thought that you were eating healthy food, like a granola bar, right? All these chewy bars,
Yogurt.
high protein bars and stuff, flavored yogurts. You think you're eating real healthy. But unbeknownst to you, they have packed it up with sugars. So the next time you pick up a bar, a healthy bar, ask how much sugar is on it. Just flip it over and look on the back. How much sugar is in this? And then you will be able to know that you are not taking in sugars that are so obviously hidden there. Because you think you're eating a healthy snack, and then you'll be piling up on your sugars. Those things, they are tricky because we tell you don't eat sugar, so nobody's eating sugar, but they find their way in
your food.
They try, the manufacturers to do that, and no matter how they brand it, protein and high energy, check the sugar content and ensure that you are picking the ones that have either no sugar or very little sugar, so that you don't, eat your cake and have diabetes with it. All right. So let's go to the final one, and that is sedentary lifestyle. Now, on this channel, I don't know how much more we can say, but we have always said that if you want to avoid some of these cardiovascular diseases and metabolic diseases, you have to have regular exercise. Regular exercise. Now, studies are actually saying that it's even not enough to just exercise regularly and still have sedentary lifestyle. Because some people would exercise all right, and yet right after the exercise, the rest of the day is just sitting. They sit all day. And that in itself can also be problematic. That could lead to diabetes. So you exercise all right, but it's not just that. It's about staying active. It's about staying active throughout the day. That is what is really important. Well, let me be careful, because somebody may say, oh, okay, so we don't have to exercise, we just have to be active. No, exercise, all right, and then add to it during the day activities, staying active. So you did your exercise, 30 minutes of brisk exercise, whether it is running or walking or jogging or weightlifting or any high intensity exercise. But then after that, consciously also be active throughout the day. You are in the house, especially most people work from home now. You sit on your desk, around your desk, and you sit there for 8 hours. You don't stand up. You got to walk around, do something more physically active throughout the day on top of your regular exercises. That is when you know that you are preventing and protecting yourself from the power of diabetes getting to you. Right?
Exactly. So these are things people don't often associate with diabetes, but they are just as important as diet and exercise.
They are just as important as diet and exercise. Staying active. All right? Definitely make sure that you are going through all those things, not just diet and exercise. So now I think we're going to move on to another area. Let's talk about what happens if diabetes actually go unchecked. The dangers of diabetes unchecked. This is where things get serious. Let's talk about the silent dangers of uncontrolled diabetes. Now, somebody, if you are watching and you're diabetic, you don't lose hope, because you can do things, but not, doing anything, not doing anything is what we are talking about. So uncontrolled diabetes is what we're talking about.
So one of the biggest risks in heart disease is high blood sugar not being controlled. So high blood sugar damages your blood vessels, making it more prone to heart attacks and strokes. So if your sugar levels are not controlled, are not managed, you are prone in getting heart attacks and stroke. So it's very important that you know where you are, and if you are diagnosed, you try as much as possible to control your diabetes.
My goodness. Now, the other thing that could also go wrong if you don't control your diabetes is a silent disease called kidney failure or kidney disease. Diabetes, apart from high blood pressure, diabetes is one of the leading causes of kidney failure.
Wow.
And many people don't even realize it. And they don't know the connection until it is too late. Wow. So that is something that we got to be very mindful of. Diabetes leading to kidney disease.
And don't forget vision loss, right?
Another huge one, right?
Diabetic retinopathy. It's a condition where blood sugar damages the blood vessels in your eyes, potentially leading to blindness. Blindness is really scary if you think of it that way, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't control the levels, the vessels in the eye area is affected, is damaged, and that can lead to blindness.
Leading to blindness. We had a show, a video, a couple of years, I think, ago, when we had an optometrist talking to us about the dangers of high blood sugar on the eye, on the retina and stuff. And you don't want to play with it. So if you have diabetes and you are not controlling it, you are actually calling yourself into eventual blindness or vision loss eventually. But if you have diabetes and you're controlling it, then rest assured you are fine. As long as you are doing something about it, we don't want to scare you. If you're doing something, if you are working and taking your medications, it's good. We are talking about people who don't even know that they have diabetes and they are living with it, or they know and they don't care. That is when these things happen and happen so quick. So we got to be careful about uncontrolled diabetes. Now, these complications are why it is important to manage your blood sugar levels and stay in a safer level. Work with your doctor and your pharmacist to ensure that none of these things show up against you. So I think that is a very important thing to bring up, So what do you think?
Yeah, so what can we do to prevent diabetes or manage it if we already have it? So it's good to have all this knowledge, but what can you do about it to prevent diabetes from happening altogether or to control it if you are already diagnosed?
My goodness. Well, let's talk about some of them. Let's talk about some of them. And I'm going to actually show some videos as we move forward, see if we can get some of them and talk about them, right? So the first one that I think, or we agree that we should do, is to get tested. Now, if you don't know that you actually diabetes, you have diabetes, then obviously there's a problem because you don't even know that you are living with it. So how are you going to control it if you don't know? Oh man, that's a sad one. I think that is a very serious part, So basically, get tested if you are at risk, especially if you have a family history, or your weight is up there, you are over 40 years, or creeping up to 40, or not even 40, but your weight is up there. Definitely, if you're over 40, and also if you have a family history, and you have a high weight, you definitely need to get tested. A simple blood test can tell you where you stand. That's all you need to do. Go to your doctors, tell them, hey, my age is creeping up there, I need to get tested. And your doctors will be able to test you and get you to do that.
Yeah, and the second thing that you want to do is to focus on your diet. You have to cut back on hidden sugars. The obvious one you can get away with, right? Because it's obvious. You stay away from it. And the hidden ones, you have to pay attention to that. And you have to try and eat whole foods. Whole foods. You eat foods at its natural state, like what we are showing, nothing processed. It's all in the natural state.
All in the natural state.
Yeah, you try as much as possible to get your hands on these kinds of foods instead of staying with the process and all the other hidden sugars. And also you have to watch your portion size, which can be a problem, for some of us. So what can you do in order to watch your portion size? If you have a bigger plate in the house, you can get a smaller plate. And when you're filling your plate, you go for the greens, the whole ones, the healthy ones, as much as possible. And if you can't stay away from, the carbohydrates, you just have to, the size that you consume, you cut back, and that can really help control your sugar levels.
Oh my goodness, cut back on the portions. Now, people in our community that we come from, one of the major reasons why a lot of us land in diabetes is the portion size. I mean, look at a bowl of dumpling. Look at the ball of fufu. Look at the pieces of yam. Look at the pieces
the size of the swallow.
The size of, oh my goodness, the bowl. You know, I look. You can talk about it. It's starchy foods, huge, and then we surround it with some soup and a few pieces of meat, and then we think that we have made it. All these things, the portion sizes are what is killing a lot of people. If we could be disciplined enough to cut, into some of them, as much as eat a fourth of what you eat in starchy foods, our risk may go down some.
Very much so.
Very, very much. And then hopefully we could also replace some of them with these greens that we always tell you about. The spinaches, the avocados, the cucumbers, the kales, or the lettuces. All those things we can fill our plate with and eat only a little bit of the starch. Then obviously we are going to do well. We're going to cut down on our risk for good. But if we continue to eat the way we know how, no matter where you're from, no matter what kind of starchy food you're eating, you are going to increase your risk. You're going to gain weight, you're going to have high blood pressure, and you're going to have a risk factor also for diabetes. So definitely let's move away from that aspect in terms of what we are eating, in terms of portion sizes and the kinds of foods. Now, let's go to the third one. So the first one was what? Remind me.
The first one you talked about.
The first one was
get tested.
Get tested, yes. Oh, come on, man. We all lost that. The first one was get tested, and the second one is portion size and diet. Greens and all those things. Now let's see if we have another one. I think we have another one that we are going to go on, and that would be the third one, which is to stay active. Right? Stay active. Stay active. Yeah, we already said that exercise alone is not enough, but you got to be active throughout the day, right? So how do you become active throughout the day? By, first of all, begin with 30 minutes of brisk exercise. That is intentional exercise. Whether you do what we call it, treadmill, or if it's not treadmill, weightlifting, some kind of push-ups, whatever it is that makes you sweat. I mean, I use sweat as a yardstick. So if you don't sweat as much, I think you're not doing as much, even though that may not necessarily be the case. But anything that makes you sweat is going to be a high-intensity exercise that you need. And you need scheduled exercises of 30 minutes a day or every other day to make a total of 150 minutes per week. 150 minutes per week, and you can make it up. Maybe you're supposed to exercise today, you couldn't do it because of something that came up. You could do it tomorrow and double up. Instead of 30 minutes, you make it an hour tomorrow. Just make sure that on average you're getting 150 minutes of exercise per week. And then after that, you do the active lifestyle that we also mentioned, right? Because we don't want you to just be exercising and still sitting down throughout. You got to still be active throughout the day. So exercise 30 minutes each week, 30 minutes per day can make a huge difference in somebody who has a risk factor for diabetes, which is basically if you're over 40. In fact, for now, in the US now, it's even less than that because of the kinds of food we eat, So that is that. Exercise.
Yeah. And the fourth one is manage your stress.
Fourth one is manage your stress. Oh my goodness. Manage your stress levels.
Yeah, so you don't want to stay in this situation for too long. We know sometimes we can't control that. It just hits us, right? So you just have to find a way and means to be able to cope or try to manage the stress. So what can you do? I think last time we mentioned deep breathing, walking away from that situation. Taking time off, just doing things that relaxes you. Maybe throughout the week you were so busy, stressed, and everything was a little chaotic. Maybe end of the week, take time. If you want to go visit your therapist or somebody who does massage, who you can, get massage.
Oh, come on, man. Get some
pedicure, manicure. Do something that relaxes you, that you love doing. Maybe you can listen to your music, you can turn on the worship song, something that relaxes you. Find ways and means to manage your stress. And you can also prioritize your sleep.
That's true. Definitely.
I think we mentioned that you have to get at least 6 hours of sleep. What are the things that you can do so that you stay true to that? You don't stay too long and you miss your 6 hour sleep. You can set a reminder and you tell yourself, when it's 12 midnight, I shut everything down and I'm going to take a rest. I'm going to take a pause. I'm going to sleep and have time, 10 things around you that disturbs you so that you have quality sleep. In so doing, you are able to control your stress level. And we know that if you don't control your stress level, it can lead to insulin resistance that can lead to diabetes. So it's very important you check these two things.
Definitely check your stress level, check your stress levels. My goodness. There's a lot that we could be talking about. But before we wrap up, let's recap what we have learned today. Because diabetes is more than just a sugar problem. It is a silent epidemic with hidden symptoms, surprising causes, and serious dangers. Oh my goodness, serious dangers, So don't play with this thing we call diabetes.
But the good news is it's manageable.
Come on, man, say it again.
It's manageable.
It's not a death sentence, right?
Yeah, and often preventable with the right lifestyle changes. So the key is awareness and early action.
Awareness and early action. And that is why we want you to make sure that you join us all the time on our YouTube channel. But you have to subscribe if you haven't already, or hit the follow, like, thumbs up, share, and all those good stuff so that you will see it when we come live or when we post a video. If you have found this episode helpful, that's exactly what I'm saying. Make sure you do all those good things. You don't just keep it to yourself. Share. And also, let's make sure that we leave a comment. What surprised you about the things we shared today? What are some of the things that actually surprised you?
Yeah, and share your own experiences with diabetes with us. Your victories, your failures, what's been working for you. And we will see you next week.
Beloved, we wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.